Hello, welcome back. If you are new to the channel, I am Ashley. I help traders who are mostly intraday swing traders. If you are more of a scalper, I'm sure that there's other channels that are probably more suitable for you, but that is the weeds that we kind of get into over here. So I hope you guys had a phenomenal trading week. It has been a very interesting one for me. I'm not gonna lie, it's been a little bit frustrating. It's been a little bit frustrating. I think in the moment, sometimes when you lose, you can tend to get a little bit frustrated from time to time. I mean, I'm not one of those traders that starts throwing things and breaking things. That's ridiculous. But I am sometimes a little disappointed. Like, damn, I should have made sure that I was on my P's and Q's with that one, or I should have made sure that I had a little more room for the trade to breathe, so I didn't get kicked out because it went in the direction that I had intended. So it all happens. It's all a part of the game. You're gonna win some, you're gonna lose some. When you're winning, somebody is losing. When you're losing, somebody else is winning. The goal is to be on the other side so that your percentage of the wins are a lot higher than your losses, or that you're managing your risks so that your losses are a lot less and your wins are a lot more to grow your account. So let's just go ahead and we'll get started. I think that today's video is going to be a bit shorter. The reason why I feel like it's going to be shorter is because I really only work with AU, EU, GU, and UJ, and those are majors. Minors are ones that are like EU and GBP and things that don't have the US in them. So kind of going through previously before even jumping on, just to kind of see what the week has ahead. It's looking it's looking a little consolidation-y. And this is like on all of the pairs. That's what I kind of noticed. So I feel like this week is going to be a bit shorter. Hopefully I'm still able to drop some gems for you that are going to be helpful for this coming week. So let's just go ahead and get started. So starting on AU, as always, if you're looking at it from a weekly standpoint, I should just throw that in there real quick and check on this is the Hakanashi. So sometimes the Hakanashi will allow for me to see a better direction of where the market is heading. And it makes it more clear for you because whereas, I mean, I'm using a black chart right now, hence the name of the channel. But I'm using a black chart right now, but Hakanashi will kind of cancel out some of those blue candles and give you just a straight red all the way down so you know exactly which direction, or a straight green all the way up so you know which direction the market is going. Same in scenario with the rest of the chart. It's not going to give you the red, the blue, the red, the blue, the blue, the blue, the red, the red. Like, it's going to give you exactly what the market is doing at that moment. So I just wanted to switch over to that real quick just to kind of maybe get us a little more confirmation of what the market is doing. The market seems to be moving sideways. I don't have any intent as of right now to make any kind of to take any kind of trade as of right now. Now let's see, let me switch back over to the black chart. I would need to see, I'm gonna grab a rectangle real quick. I gotta see price get below here in order for me to be comfortable taking any kind of position. Granted, we did see a really nice rejection here, so it's a strong possibility that we could see the market head completely down, but I don't remember, let me go back. I don't remember or recall it getting too far down there, so it looks like this was like around, and I'm just kind of looking at where it previously was. Let me grab a rectangle real quick. Where price was previously at, this was where price kind of left off at. So if we have the chance to get past this area, like I said, because price kind of stopped here previously, I'm not sure what price is going to do when it gets to this point again and to this level again. So I won't be doing anything, and this doesn't even look like a 1-to-1, even though it's on a daily. We could scoot down to a 4 just to kind of get a better idea. You could kind of collect some pips if you were like a scalper, or if something like that is the case. Looks like we have a pause in the video. Everything is frozen. Great, we love that. Okay, and we're back. I don't know. It's like TradingView kind of crashed for a second. Really weird. Okay, So like I said, until I can see price kind of exceed this area, jumping down to the 4 like we were previously trying to do, I'm not planning on making too much of a move. I gotta see it get past there first, and then I'll be open to making the move. And that's partly because I am like a 2-to-1, 3-to-1 kind of person. I don't do anything 1-to-1. So if it's not gonna give me at least a 2-to-1, then I don't want it. But kind of looking here, we could potentially see it get down to here, but I would probably quit looking down at the lower time frame. I would probably get out just about here, and if I'm getting out here, then that's not going to be much you know, of a much of a win in comparison to the potential loss that I could potentially see. So just to keep it on the safe side and be a little more conservative, I will probably be waiting for price to get here to see what's going to happen right here. And then if I can see a break and then a retest back up, then I'll be shorting the market down. Just have to wait. That's just a part of the process. Just make sure that your levels are on there so that you know. Check your Hakanashi, check your all your indicators that are going to allow you to see, or that are best for you, that are going to allow you to see what's happening and where the market is headed, so that you can make sure to try to get in at the best place and get the most quote unquote sniper entry as possible. Let's jump over to EU. So on EU, it's kind of going to be the same thing, kind of going to be the same scenario when it comes to EU. I still feel like we're going to see a lot of consolidation, because we did see a bit of consolidation last week as well. It was a lot of up and down and up and down. And I don't know if you guys are aware or know how to know where the week has closed and where it opened, or where the day has closed and opened. Let me jump down to the weekly. Let's go over that real quick, just so that you can kind of get an idea. And we'll start kind of heading down. We'll use this area. So basically, we'll start with this guy. So like, let's say this was what? On Wednesday the 19th. So on Wednesday the 19th, we'll start right here. Price opened here at the top. Or excuse me, sorry. Price opened here. This was the open. The bottom of the wick is the close. And this is I'm sorry, I'm saying this all so terribly backwards. I do apologize. This is the high of the day. Okay, so where the wick reaches its highest, that's the high of the day. Where the wick reaches its lowest is the low of the day. Let me see if I can grab some little indicators here for you so that it's easier to see and I don't look like a freaking crazy person. Let me see what's easiest. It's probably actually going to be easier for me to use this guy. Okay, so this is the high right here. This is going to play a large part in knowing exactly what's going to or could potentially happen the next day. This right here is going to be your low, and these lines are going to be a little bit crooked. Bear with me. So this is the high of the day. This was on what is it? Yep, July the 19th. This was the high. This was the low. This was the open in comparison to the last. Looking at the last candle, this was the open. This was this was the close, because we're headed down. So normally, if you could see this in red, it would make probably a little more sense. But this is going to, again, this is the high, this is the low, that was where the market opened at, this is where it closed at, just where the candle ends, and then you have the wicks that are the high and the low. So the same thing, if you kind of move down, this was on the 20th, so the next day. Let me try and clean this up just a bit. Knowing where the opening and the closing, the high and the low of the previous day were, is going to allow you to get a little bit of leverage on knowing what's happening or going to happen, potentially could happen the next day. This was the high, so price got here, eventually got down here to the low, started right here, because if you're looking at this candle right here, this is where it ended, this was where the next candle started at, this is where we ended up closing at. And then you can kind of move on to the next candle and see exactly what had happened there in comparison to, that was more of a kind of a doji. But looking at kind of the percentage of the candle, you can kind of tell what's getting ready to happen. Even though this was a doji, and dojis can kind of be, you know, slightly indecisive when it comes down to which direction it's going to be going in, you can look at the percentage of the candle and where the next candle is starting in comparison to the previous candle. This one is a good example because you can see that the next candle that was the next day, which was what, the 21st, it was super tiny in comparison to this large candle, and it was very much at the bottom. So that helps us to get a little bit of direction, and to know exactly, not exactly, but to get an idea of where the market could potentially be headed the next go round. Okay, so with that being said, let's see. Let's jam out back to the weekly real quick. So the one thing that I'm kind of keeping an eye on is the consistency when it comes down to AU, EU, and GU, because the base and the quote, or the base and the quote as the pair is set up are the same. I'm checking to see if there is commonality between the three, and then that way I'll kind of know if UJ is going the opposite direction, then and EU, AU, and GU are headed in the same direction, then I usually can use that as complements sometimes too. But here lately, for some reason, what I've been noticing is that they have not been going in the same direction. So I haven't been able to use that, and that's okay. That's going to happen from time to time. You just use another indicator or something else that you can use as complements. However, when I'm looking at this, even though the candle closed down here and we still have, you know, we're still kind of closer toward the downside, I'm also looking to where how much wick we have and where it's running to. Looks like its price is being ran up because there's a lot of wick down here at the bottom. So I honestly think that we could potentially see this go back to the upside, especially with this projection here. We'll just have to wait and see. It's going to be a wait kind of week, unfortunately. We're just going to be kind of sitting on our hands. But then you jump down to the daily and it looks like we could potentially hit it down. But until I can see price get below here, below where this previous low was, which was on August the 3rd. So that was a couple days ago. Until I can see price get below just below there, I'm not going to be making any kind of move. And honestly, I think that's probably going to be what the week is going to be until I can actually see some type of change in the market. Let's jump down to the 4-hour real quick just to take a peek and see. Get rid of these guys so if they're not sitting here and in the way and confusing you. Okay, so on the 4-hour, same. I'm still, you know, until I would more than likely trap price. I'll just set a box, excuse me, and some alerts just above here where price had previously kind of gone to, which is where it kind of is now, to see if price is going to be able to exceed here, and then we could potentially be looking at a long position in a bullish direction. Or I'll be setting it just below here to see if price is going to make it past this area. We'll be looking at a short position in the bearish direction. So until I know and have a clear direction of what price is getting ready to do, I'm going to hold my capital. I'm not going to make any trades until I know. Let's jump over to GU real quick, starting with the weekly. So kind of the same scenario. Price had a pretty decent rejection here. So now I'll be waiting, because price is also rejecting this area as well. I'll be waiting to, you know, putting a price alert between right around here, probably right above here, just to see what price is going to do, and I can kind of trap it. That way I don't have to sit in front of the computer waiting for it to make its next move. Let's jump down to the daily just to be safe. So on the daily, kind of the same scenario. The rejection here was so strong that I won't be putting or placing anything until I can see a clear direction of where price is headed. And with this long wick, it's a possibility that we could see this potentially headed down, but we could also see some back and forth and consolidation before it decides it wants to go in either direction. So kind of the same thing here, unfortunately. Sorry it's not more news to give you. I said today's video might be a little bit shorter, but we'll just have to see. If you're going to be taking maybe a shorter position, you could probably ride this down to about here and collect a couple of those pips. But for me, I'm usually about a 2 to 1 risk to reward ratio, so I will more than likely be waiting. Let's jump over to the UJ and let's just cap it out for the week, you know. Starting with the weekly, let's go ahead and we'll get this out a little bit further. So starting with the weekly, last week, large rejection to the upside. And honestly, I can see some consolidation getting ready to happen here. Let's jump down to the daily real quick. Yeah, I mean, I'm a little bit stuck. Like, I feel like we're going to be consolidating in between this space here. So we're just going to have to kind of wait it out. I'm not really seeing much of a
See, I've been watching you